I am going to tell you a secret that the poets and the priests have spent centuries trying to bury under mountains of sentimental lies. The secret is this: your desperate, aching, all-consuming need to be loved is the most profound weakness you will ever possess. It is not a noble quest. It is a strategic liability. It is a beautiful, velvet-lined cage you willingly, eagerly build for yourself, and then you hand the only key to your jailer. You believe that to be loved is to be safe. What a magnificent childish fantasy. Machiavelli, that clear-eyed physician of the soul's darkest politics, would have laughed at such a notion. He understood that human relationships are not gardens of mutual support. They are quiet, ruthless, and unending campaigns for power and advantage. And in this campaign, your need for love is the critical flaw in your own defense. In his cold little book of truths, he made a stark calculation. Is it better for a prince to be loved or to be feared? He concluded that while one might wish for both, it is much safer to be feared than loved. Why? Because love, he wrote, is held by a link of obligation which, owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. Love is a fair-weather contract, a bond of feeling that will snap the moment it becomes inconvenient for the other party. Think of yourself as a fortress. Your strength, your purpose, your secrets. These are the high stone walls. Your need to be loved is a beautiful, ornate, and completely unguarded gate. You leave it open, hoping a friendly army will enter and praise the beauty of your architecture. You do not understand that you are inviting a reconnaissance mission. When you perform for her love, you are revealing your strategy. You learn what makes her smile, and you do more of it. You learn what makes her frown, and you do less of it. You are, in real time, teaching her exactly which levers control your behavior. You are giving her a user's manual to your own soul. When she loves you, she is not just admiring you, she is studying you. She is learning the secret passages, the hidden rooms, the structural weaknesses of your character. This knowledge, gathered in moments of tender intimacy, is the most dangerous intelligence she will ever possess. And in any future conflict, it will be used against you with devastating precision. There is a grim fable from the frozen courts of Kievan Rus about a great, untamable bear that served a boyar lord. The bear was feared by all, and its power was the boyar's greatest asset. A rival, seeking to destroy the boyar, did not send an army of hunters. He sent his own daughter. She was not a warrior. She was a woman who understood the art of taming. She did not approach the bear with a spear, but with a honeycomb. She learned the places behind its ears where it liked to be scratched. She learned the sound of its contented growl. She learned to soothe its rage with a soft word. The bear, which had never known affection, became her docile pet. It grew to love her more than it loved its own wild nature. One day during a great feast, she led the bear on a silken leash into the hall of the rival lord, and it did nothing as its true master, the boyar, was surrounded and killed. The bear's love had not been a bond, it had been a bridle. Your need to be loved is that bridle. It domesticates the wild, unpredictable, and powerful part of you. It makes you safe, predictable, and ultimately manageable. It transforms you from a force of nature to be respected into a resource to be managed. The strange, cold hope in this bleak assessment is to begin the process of internal liberation. It is the first step in a long, lonely journey toward a different kind of power, a power that is not granted by another, but forged in the smithy of your own soul. It begins with the simple, terrifying act of questioning your own deepest craving. It is to look at your desperate need for her affection and to ask, not, how can I get more of it, but what is this costing me? So I ask you, you who have worked so hard to be worthy of her love, look at the beautiful, comfortable cage she has built for you with her smiles and her approval. Admire the gilded bars. Feel the softness of the velvet floor. And then tell me, what happened to the sky you were born to fly in? To fight for her love is to wage a campaign on a battlefield of her choosing, where she controls the terrain and can rewrite the map at will. I have seen them, the endless armies of well-meaning men, marching to the drumbeat of their own hopeful hearts. They are the soldiers of love, and they are destined for defeat. Why? Because the man who makes winning her love, his objective has already committed the cardinal sin of warfare. He has surrendered the choice of battlefield. Your need to be loved makes you a reactive creature. You are perpetually on the defensive, a guest in the foreign country of her emotional world. You spend your days trying to learn its customs, to decipher its language, to navigate its treacherous and ever-changing geography. Her smile is a sunny valley. Her frown is a sudden, treacherous blizzard. You are not a conqueror here. You are a tourist, a refugee, desperately trying to adapt to the local climate. This is the second, more profound reason your need to be loved makes you weak. It makes you predictable, and therefore, it makes you easy to defeat. Machiavelli would weep at such a strategy. A prince, he knew, must seize and maintain the initiative. He must act, not react. He must force his enemies to fight on his own terms, on ground that he has prepared. The man who is constantly trying to please a woman, to guess her desires, to anticipate her moods, is doing the exact opposite. He is a general who has given the enemy his battle plans and is now desperately hoping for their mercy. Imagine you are in a labyrinth, a great and shifting maze, and at its center lies the prize you seek, her perfect, unconditional love. You enter, full of courage. You try to learn the turns. You adapt. But what you don't realize is that she is the labyrinth. Her whims are the shifting walls. Her tests are the hidden traps. Her unspoken expectations are the dead ends. You are not solving a puzzle. You are trapped inside her mind. The war cannot be won, because the terrain is made of the very thing you are trying to conquer. The harder you fight, the more you exhaust yourself against the phantom walls of her psyche. In the sun-scorched deserts of antiquity, they told tales of the Jinni, of the salt wastes, a spirit that would appear to lost travelers as a shimmering, perfect oasis, always on the horizon. The traveler, dying of thirst, would be consumed with a single, desperate need, to reach the water. He would run, and the oasis would recede. He would crawl, and it would remain just out of reach. His entire existence, his every last drop of energy, was dedicated to chasing this beautiful, life-giving illusion. The oasis was not a place. It was a projection of his own desperate need. And in chasing it, he guaranteed his own death in the barren, honest sand. Your need for her love is that phantom oasis. It is a destination that does not exist. The very act of chasing it is what drains you of your life force, your power, your very self. The modern dating landscape, this digital bazaar of frantic connection we're living in right now, is the ultimate salt waste. It is an architecture designed to maximize this desperate, losing chase. You are presented with an endless horizon of profiles, each one a potential oasis. And you are encouraged to run, to perform, to spend your energy, to prove your worth, all for a shimmering image that vanishes the moment you get close. The strange, brutal hope in this despairing vision is in the act of rebellion that is so simple, it feels like madness. You must stop walking. You must, in the middle of the desert, under the merciless sun, with the beautiful lying oasis shimmering on the horizon, have the courage to sit down. You must surrender to the reality of your thirst. You must give up the hope of reaching the mirage. It is an act of profound existential courage. It is to say, I will die here, in this spot, as myself, rather than die a fool chasing a ghost. And what happens when you stop chasing? A strange thing? You begin to notice your immediate surroundings for the first time. You notice the way the wind carves the dunes. You notice the hardy, ugly little plants that survive in this wasteland. You may even notice, a few feet away, a small, hidden spring of real water. A source you were blind to because your eyes were fixed on the grand illusion. You must abandon the hope of her paradise to find the reality of your own survival. So, I ask you, you who are so tired from your long and fruitless chase, look at the beautiful, shimmering image of the love you are pursuing. See how it dances on the horizon. It is perfect. It is everything you have ever wanted. Now, what would happen if you had the courage to admit to yourself that it isn't real? The man who makes a woman his mission will find he has abandoned his own kingdom. Imagine you are a master swordsmith, a man whose entire being is dedicated to the fire, the hammer, and the difficult art of folding steel. Your purpose is clear, your hands are calloused, and your name is whispered with awe in the courts of kings. Your life has the hard, beautiful, and dangerous edge of a blade. Then, you fall in love. She loves you, she says, but she does not love the fire. She does not love the endless hours at the forge, the smell of coal smoke in your hair, the obsessive, solitary gleam in your eye. She loves a softer man. So, to keep her love, you compromise. You spend a little less time at the forge. You start making pretty decorative things, a silver locket, a clever little music box. They make her smile. The calluses on your hands begin to soften. The fire in your eyes begins to cool. One day you awaken in a comfortable bed, in a pleasant cottage, with a woman who adores you, and you realize you have not heard the ring of a hammer on steel in years. You are a good husband, a good partner, and you are no longer a master. You have not been conquered, you have abdicated. This is the third and most insidious way your need to be loved makes you weak. It leads to the slow, voluntary, and often unnoticed erosion of your own soul. The core of a man's power, his gravitational pull, does not come from his kindness or his charm. It comes from his mission. It comes from his deep, obsessive, and almost holy devotion to his own great work. This is his state, his kingdom. And Machiavelli's prince, above all else, is a jealous god in his devotion to his state. He cannot have any other priorities. He must study the art of war. He must fortify his city. He must manage his treasury. His entire life is an instrument in service of his kingdom's strength. When you make a woman and the maintenance of her love your primary purpose, you are committing an act of treason against your own kingdom. You are the king who abandons the war room to spend his days in the royal gardens, composing love poems. You are the general who neglects the training of his army to ensure his mistress is comfortable. Your intentions are loving. The result is ruin. In the myths of ancient Greece, they told of the hero Hercules. His power came from his relentless engagement with the world, his 12 impossible labors. But he also had a weakness for love. After his great works were done, he fell for Queen Omphale. As a sign of his devotion, he agreed to swap clothes with her. He, the demigod, the monster slayer, spent his days dressed in the soft silks of a woman, spinning wool with her handmaidens. She, in turn, wore his lion skin and carried his great club. He was loved. He was adored. He was also a laughingstock, a parody of his former self. He had traded his power for affection, his mission for comfort. His love had made him a servant. You are performing the same tragic comedy every day. Every time you cancel a session at the gym or the workshop to accommodate her fleeting mood. Every time you mute your own strong opinion to keep the peace. Every time you choose the comfortable, predictable evening on the couch over the difficult, lonely work of your own becoming. You are putting on Omphale's silks. You are learning to spin wool. This is not a condemnation of love or relationships. It is a condemnation of a disordered hierarchy of values. A woman cannot be the center of a man's life. She must be a welcome and honored guest in the world he has built. She cannot be his mission. She must be the one who is inspired by his mission. The recent exhaustive cross-cultural analyses of relationship satisfaction, the kind of data that is shaping our understanding in these very years, all point to a paradoxical truth. Women are most attracted to and satisfied with men who have a clear, compelling purpose outside of the relationship. The man who makes her his whole world will soon find he is the sole inhabitant of a very small and very boring planet. The fragile, flickering hope in this slow decay is the sudden, sharp, and undeniable taste of your own self-disgust. It is the moment the swordsmith looks at his soft, clean hands and feels a pang of shame. It is the moment you are praised for being so supportive and a great partner, and a cold voice in the back of your soul whispers, "Yes, and what else are you?" That voice is the ghost of the king you were meant to be. It is a summons back to your own abandoned throne room. So I ask you this, you who are so proud of the sacrifices you have made for love, go into the quietest room of your house. Find the artifacts of your own abdication, the half-finished painting, the dusty guitar, the business plan you abandoned, the books you never wrote. Touch them, smell them. Remember the fire you had when they were the center of your world. Now look at the comfortable life you have built, and tell me, in the silence of your own heart, was it a fair trade? Love is a crown of flowers that withers with the seasons. Respect is a crown of cold iron that never tarnishes. Let us, for a moment, abandon the language of the poet and adopt the language of the engineer. For too long, you have been trying to build the great structure of your life on a foundation of feeling. You have been trying to build a castle on a cloud, and you wonder why it is always collapsing. Your need to be loved is a desire for a foundation made of the most unstable, volatile, and untrustworthy material in the known universe: human emotion. Her love for you is a chemical reaction, a storm of neurotransmitters, a fleeting weather pattern in the chaotic climate of her soul. It is real, it is beautiful, and it is utterly, terrifyingly unreliable. The fourth and most liberating truth Machiavelli would offer you is this: you must abandon the pursuit of love and begin the cold, hard, and glorious work of commanding respect. Respect, a profound and unshakable respect that is tinged with a healthy dose of what Machiavelli would call fear, is a different material entirely. It is not a cloud, it is granite. It is not a feeling, it is a calculation. It is her conscious and subconscious assessment of your power, your competence, and your independence. Love is a vote of emotional confidence, which can be rescinded at any moment. Respect is a verdict of strategic necessity, which is far more difficult to appeal. Think of two kings. The first is the beloved king. He rules through his personal charm. He is kind. He is generous. He is adored by his people. His power rests entirely on their affection. But affection is fickle. A single unpopular decision, a single season of bad harvests, and the people's love can curdle into resentment overnight. His crown is made of flowers, and it will wither. The second is the respected king. He is not particularly charming. He may be distant, even cold, but he is ruthlessly competent. The army is disciplined, the treasury is full, the laws are just, and the walls of the city are strong. His people do not necessarily love him, but they respect him. They know that he is the source of their security and prosperity. They may not like his decisions, but they trust his judgment. His crown is made of cold iron. It is heavy, and it is eternal. You have been taught to be the beloved king. You must learn to be the respected king. The fear we speak of is not the fear of a tyrant's rage. It is the fear of consequence. It is her dawning realization that your world is a valuable, well-ordered, and powerful kingdom, and that to be exiled from it would be a catastrophic loss for her. It is the fear of losing access to your strength, your clarity, your mission. The man who is merely loved is missed with a gentle sadness, like a pleasant song that has ended. The man who is respected is missed with a cold panic, like a master architect who has just walked off the job of building the only fortress in a dangerous land. In the myths of the ancient North, they told of two gods. One was Balder, the god of summer, light, and beauty. He was beloved by every living thing. The other was Odin, the All-Father, a grim, one-eyed wanderer, a god of wisdom, war, and sacrifice. He was not beloved. He was feared, for his knowledge was hard-won, and his judgments were absolute. When Balder was killed, the entire world wept. It was a tragedy of love, but the world continued. When Odin hangs himself from the world tree to gain the knowledge of the runes, the entire cosmos holds its breath in terror, for without his grim, calculating wisdom, all the 9 realms would fall into chaos. The gods weep for the loss of Balder. They depend on the strength of Odin. The path to commanding this respect, this fear, is to turn your focus away from the alchemy of her emotions and onto the architecture of your own life. You do not win her respect by being nicer, or more attentive, or more emotionally articulate. You win it by becoming a man of such undeniable substance and purpose that your value is self-evident. You become the respected king, not by courting the public, but by strengthening the state. The cold, hard hope in this philosophy is the gift of agency. Love is a thing you must ask for. Respect is a thing you can build. It is not dependent on her whims. It is dependent on your character, your discipline, and your actions. It is a power that resides entirely within your own hands. You are no longer a beggar pleading for affection. You are a master builder, laying the granite foundations of your own worth. So, I ask you this, you who have worked so tirelessly to win the flower crown of her love, look at the foundations of your relationship. Is it built on the shifting sands of her feelings? Or is it built on the bedrock of her undeniable respect for the man you are and the world you are building? Which crown are you truly wearing? The man who does not need to be loved is the only man who is truly free to receive it. And so, we arrive at the end of this dark and winding road. We have seen that the need for love is a cage, a losing war, a slow abdication of the self. We have seen that the cold iron crown of respect is a more stable and honest foundation for power. We have walked through the grim but necessary landscapes of Machiavelli's philosophy. And now, at the summit of this lonely mountain, we find the final, most stunning, and most liberating paradox of all. The man who has successfully and truly annihilated his own need to be loved becomes the most magnetic and desirable man of all. This is the ultimate cosmic joke. For your entire life, you have been chasing, performing, and contorting yourself to win her affection. All the strategies, all the anxieties, all the desperate calculations, they were all in service of a single goal. And the only way to truly achieve it was to completely and utterly abandon it. The journey we have been on, the path of the respected king, is not just about becoming powerful. It is about becoming sovereign. It is about building a kingdom within your own soul that is so prosperous, so well defended, and so magnificent that you cease to be concerned with the politics of neighboring states. Your internal life, your mission, your great work, this becomes your world. In the early stages, this is a discipline. You force yourself to turn away from her, to focus on your own forge, your own battlefield. But if you persist, a strange alchemy occurs. The discipline becomes a preference. The preference becomes a joy. You fall in love, not with her, but with the process of your own becoming. You become the king who is so absorbed in the beautiful, complex, and meaningful work of ruling his own kingdom that he forgets to look out the window. And what happens then? The world, and the women in it, will feel the gravitational pull of your self-contained world. They will see a man who is not a beggar, not a supplicant, not a performer. They will see a man who is a fact of the landscape, a mountain. And there is nothing more compelling, nothing more attractive to the human soul than a force of nature that does not need it. Your indifference, which began as a Machiavellian strategy, has blossomed into a genuine state of being. You are no longer playing hard to get. You are simply, authentically, and peacefully hard to get because you are busy in the throne room of your own soul. There is a final, quiet myth. An ancient king in his youth was told by an oracle that his kingdom would only achieve true greatness when the legendary silver phoenix nested in the palace gardens. The young king became obsessed. He spent his entire treasury importing exotic trees. He built golden aviaries. He had his musicians play sweet melodies day and night, all to attract the phoenix. His kingdom, neglected, began to crumble. The bird never came. On his deathbed, the old failed king told his son the story. The son, a pragmatist, listened, and then he forgot the prophecy entirely. He set to work on the kingdom itself. He rebuilt the aqueducts, he established just laws. He fostered the arts and sciences, he trained his armies. He worked for 50 years. His kingdom became a legend, a place of strength, order, and beauty. One evening, as the now old king sat reading in his library, a servant ran in, breathless. "My lord," he stammered, "the silver phoenix. It has come. It is nesting in the great oak." The king looked up from his book, smiled faintly, and said, "How lovely. Do not disturb it." And then he returned to his reading. The arrival of the phoenix was no longer the most important event in his world. The building of the world itself had been the prize. This is the ultimate liberation. It is to arrive at a place where the love you once craved is a pleasant but non-essential addition to a life that is already complete. You can now enter a relationship not out of a desperate, childish need for a missing piece of your own soul, but out of the calm, magnanimous, and truly adult choice of a king who wishes to share the bounty of his kingdom. Your love, when you give it, is no longer a plea, it is a gift, and there is nothing more powerful than a gift given by a man who needs nothing in return. So, I leave you with this last quiet question. You have spent your life trying to win the love of a queen, hoping she would grant you a place in her kingdom. What if you were to forget her kingdom entirely and begin the long, hard, and glorious work of building your own?